The sun was setting over New Pyeongtaek, painting the sky in shades of purple and orange. Dae-sung sat on the porch of his family's home, watching a small insect glow in the twilight. The bug was beautiful, with wings that flickered like tiny stars. He had never seen one like it before. "Dae-sung, dinner time!" his mother called from inside. The 7-year-old boy looked back at the house, then at the glowing insect. It was flying away, deeper into the forest that bordered their colony. Nari would love to see this bug. She collected pictures of all the local wildlife for her school project. If he could catch it and show her, she would be so happy. "Coming!" he shouted back, but his feet were already moving toward the forest. The insect bobbed through the air just out of reach. Dae-sung followed it past the marker stones that showed the colony's safe boundary. He knew he was not supposed to go beyond the markers, but the bug was right there. Just a little further, he would catch it and run right back. The trees grew thicker around him. The settlement lights faded behind him. The insect landed on a leaf, and Dae-sung crept forward slowly, holding his breath. His fingers were inches away when the bug took off again, flying deeper into the darkening woods. Dae-sung did not notice the shadow that moved between the trees behind him. Far above, in a ship hidden beyond the planet's detection systems, Vexthor had been watching the human colony for 3 days. The Kraelith hunter had traveled across half the galaxy for this moment. His people were known throughout the stars as the perfect predators. Their hunts were legendary. Their trophies filled museums on 100 worlds. Vexthor stood 9 feet tall, his 4 arms ending in claws that could slice through metal. His skin shifted colors to match his surroundings, making him nearly invisible. His people had hunted on thousands of planets, tracking thousands of species. They always won. They never failed. But Vexthor was young for a Kraelith, barely into his 2nd century. He had not yet claimed a soft blood trophy, the warm-blooded mammals that his people considered the ultimate prey. Without such a trophy, he could not advance in his clan. He would remain a novice forever. This human colony was perfect, small, remote, weak, no military presence, no heavy weapons, just farmers and miners living simple lives, soft bloods who would be easy prey. He had studied them carefully through his ship's sensors. He watched their routines, learned their patterns, identified the vulnerable ones, the very young, the very old, those who wandered alone. Then he saw the small human child follow the glowing insect into the forest. Perfect. Vexthor activated his cloaking field and descended to the planet's surface. His ship's computer had analyzed these humans and found them unremarkable. Standard mammalian biology, no natural weapons, no armored skin, no venom, no particular speed or strength. They used tools, but so did many species. Nothing special. The hunter moved through the forest like smoke. His training had taken decades. He knew how to step without sound, how to breathe without presence, how to become part of the environment itself. The child would never see him coming. Dae-sung finally stopped chasing the insect. He looked around and realized he could not see the colony lights anymore. The forest was dark now, and strange sounds filled the air. His mother's voice echoed in his memory, warning him never to go into the forest alone. "I should go back," he whispered to himself. He turned around, trying to remember which way he had come. All the trees looked the same. His heart started beating faster. He was not scared of the dark, but he was starting to feel scared of being lost. A branch snapped behind him. Dae-sung spun around, squinting into the shadows. "Hello? Tae-yang, is that you?" No answer. Just the wind moving through the leaves. "This is not funny," Dae-sung called out, hoping it was his older brother playing a trick. Silence. Vexthor watched the child from 10 paces away, completely invisible. He studied his prey's body language, the elevated breathing, The darting eyes, the trembling hands, fear responses, exactly as expected. The child was already caught. He just did not know it yet. The hunter had done this many times before with other species. The key was to let them feel safe for just a moment. Let them think they might escape. Then strike. The fear made the hunt sweeter. It was tradition. He would wait for the perfect moment. Dae-sung started walking quickly in what he hoped was the right direction. His feet crunched on dry leaves. Something rustled in the bushes to his left, and he jumped. Just a small animal, he told himself. Nothing to worry about. But there was something else. A feeling. Like someone was watching him. He walked faster. The trees seemed to press closer around him. The darkness grew thicker. He wanted to run, but his father always said that running in the forest was dangerous. You could trip on roots or fall into holes. "Mom! Dad!" he called out, his voice small in the vast forest. No reply. Vexthor moved closer, shifting position to cut off the child's path back to the colony. The hunt was almost over. He would make it quick. One strike. The child would feel no pain. That was the honorable way. He had killed creatures twice his size. He had hunted prey that could see in total darkness. He had tracked animals that could smell fear from a mile away. A small human child was nothing. Dae-sung saw a break in the trees ahead and felt hope surge in his chest. Maybe that was the way home. He hurried forward, pushing through low branches. That was when Vexthor made his mistake. He stepped on a dry branch, confident that the child was too panicked to notice. The branch cracked like a gunshot in the quiet forest. Dae-sung froze. That sound was too loud to be a small animal. Too close. Too deliberate. Something was hunting him. Every instinct in his small body screamed danger. This was not his imagination. This was real. Vexthor saw the child's posture change. The prey knew. It was time. The hunter deactivated his cloaking field and stepped into view. He rose to his full height, all 9 feet of him. His 4 arms spread wide. His claws gleamed in the moonlight. His mouth opened, showing rows of sharp teeth designed to tear flesh. He expected the child to freeze. All prey froze when they saw him. It was biology, the predator's advantage, but Dae-sung did not freeze. The boy's eyes went wide. His mouth opened in shock. For 1 second, he stood perfectly still. Then Dae-sung did something that no prey had ever done in Vexthor's hunting career. He grabbed a rock from the ground, threw it directly at the hunter's face, and screamed louder than any creature that size should be able to scream. The rock bounced harmlessly off Vexthor's armored skull, but the hunter blinked in surprise. Then the child ran, not in random panic, but in a straight line back toward the colony, still screaming at the top of his lungs, his voice carrying through the forest like an alarm. Vexthor stood there for 2 full seconds, processing what had just happened. Then he roared in anger and began the pursuit. His pride was insulted, his honor questioned. This prey dared to fight back? The hunt was on. Vexthor crashed through the forest behind the running child, his powerful legs eating up the distance. He had chased prey across ice worlds and through burning deserts. A small human child could not outrun him. This would be over in seconds. But the child kept running and kept screaming. That screaming confused Vexthor. Most prey tried to be quiet when hunted, hoping to hide. This one was announcing his location to everything in the forest. It made no sense. Unless the child was too stupid to know better. Dae-sung's legs burned as he ran. His lungs felt like fire. But he did not stop screaming and did not stop running. His father had taught him something important about the mining colony. If you are in danger, make noise, lots of noise. Someone will hear you. Someone will come. He ducked under a low branch that would have hit him in the face. Behind him, he heard the branch snap as something much bigger crashed through it. The monster was getting closer. Dae-sung saw a narrow gap between 2 large rocks. He was small enough to fit through. The monster was not. He squeezed through the gap, scraping his arm on the rough stone. On the other side, he kept running and kept screaming. Vexthor reached the rocks and snarled in frustration. He had to climb over them, losing precious seconds. The child was thinking tactically, using the environment. This was not normal prey behavior. Back at the colony, Hyun-woo was closing up the mining equipment shed when he heard something that made his blood freeze, his son's scream. He knew that voice. Every parent knows their child's voice, and that scream was not playful. It was pure terror. Hyun-woo dropped the tools in his hands and ran. His work boots pounded against the ground. His heart hammered in his chest. "Dae-sung!" he roared. Inside their home, Ji-won heard both screams, her husband's and her son's. She grabbed her medical bag by pure instinct and the tranquilizer rifle they kept for the rare, dangerous animal. She hit the emergency alert button on the wall as she ran outside. The colony sirens began to wail. Tai Yang was playing cards with his friends when the sirens started. Then he heard his father's shout and his brother's scream. The cards scattered across the table as he shot to his feet. He grabbed the heavy wrench his father had been using to fix their water pump and sprinted toward the forest. Nari was in her room when she heard Dae-sung scream. Her little brother, her annoying, curious, fearless little brother who was always getting into trouble. She ran to her window and saw the emergency lights flashing. She activated her comm device and sent a message to every contact she had. "Dae-sung in danger in forest. Need help now." Throughout the colony, people heard the sirens and the screams. They grabbed whatever they had. Tools, flashlights, anything that could be a weapon. In the forest, Dae-sung's legs were giving out. He was only 7 years old. He could not run forever. The monster was right behind him now. He could hear its breathing, a harsh, rasping sound that made his skin crawl. He saw a fallen log and dove behind it, his small body rolling in the dirt. Maybe he could hide. Maybe it would run past him. Vexthor saw the child disappear and slowed his pursuit. Good. The prey was finally showing proper behavior. Hiding, cowering. This was how hunts were supposed to go. He approached the log slowly, savoring the moment. His thermal vision showed the child's heat signature huddled behind the wood. Nowhere to run now. The hunt was over. Dae-sung pressed himself against the log, trying to control his breathing. He could hear the monster's footsteps getting closer. Slow steps, confident steps. The monster knew it had won. Dae-sung's hand touched something on the ground, a rock, bigger than the last one. His father's words echoed in his memory. If something comes at you in the mines and you have no way out, you go for the eyes. Every creature needs to see. The footsteps stopped. The monster was right on the other side of the log. Vexthor reached down with one clawed hand to grab his prize. Dae-sung exploded up from behind the log, throwing the rock with all his strength directly at the hunter's face. The rock struck Vexthor's primary eye, and while it did not injure him, it made him blink and step back. The child ducked under his reaching arms and kicked at his leg joint as hard as he could. Again, no real damage. But the audacity of it shocked Vexthor. This prey was fighting back, actually fighting, not with any hope of winning, but with pure defiant rage. Then a new sound cut through the forest, a human voice, deeper and louder than the child's. "Dae-sung, where are you?" Vexthor's head snapped up. More humans, coming fast. Dae-sung's face lit up with hope. "Dad, I'm here! There's a monster!" Hyun-woo burst through the tree line and saw his son. Saw the massive alien creature looming over him. For one heartbeat, the man's mind went blank with fear. The thing was huge, armored, clearly built to kill. Then training kicked in. Not military training, father training, the deepest instinct in any parent. Protect the child, no matter what, no matter the cost. Hyun-woo raised the plasma cutter he had grabbed from the shed. It was meant for slicing through rock and metal. He had never used it as a weapon. He did not care. He charged forward and placed himself between the monster and his son, activating the plasma cutter to its maximum setting. The blue-white flame hissed to life, bright enough to light up the entire clearing. "Get behind me, Dae-sung," Hyunwoo said, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. Vex-Thor stared at the adult human. This one was not running, not negotiating, not trying to distract the hunter so the child could escape. He was standing his ground, weapon raised, ready to fight. The hunter's analysis computer had said these humans were not warriors. They were colonists, civilians. They should know they could not win against a Kralith. But the human's eyes said otherwise. They said, "You will have to go through me to get to him." Vex-Thor had seen that look before, in cornered prey that knew they were going to die, but would fight anyway. But this was different. This human was not cornered. He had chosen this position. Before Vex-Thor could process this, another human arrived. Female, smaller than the male. She took position on the opposite side of the child and raised a rifle. Ji-won fired 3 tranquilizer darts in rapid succession. They bounced harmlessly off the Kralith's armored hide, but they made Vex-Thor turn his head toward this new threat. The moment he looked away, Hyunwoo swung the plasma cutter at the hunter's arm. Vex-Thor pulled back, avoiding the superheated blade by inches. He felt the heat on his skin. That weapon could hurt him. More sounds, more footsteps, more humans. Tae-yang arrived, breathing hard, wrench held like a club. He saw his little brother and felt rage surge through him. "Nobody touches my brother!" Nari came right behind him, followed by Won-shik from the construction team, Bo-ra, the security officer, Jae-hee, who worked in agriculture, and Kyung-ho, the shuttle pilot. 9 humans now stood in a semicircle around Dae-sung, each one armed with whatever they had grabbed, each one positioned between the hunter and the child. Vex-Thor looked at them and felt something he had not expected. Confusion. These humans should be fleeing, they should be negotiating, they should be offering the child as sacrifice to save themselves. That was how prey species worked. The weak were abandoned to save the strong. But these humans were doing the opposite. The adults were protecting the child. The older children were protecting the younger. The neighbors were protecting the family. It made no sense. Won-shik stepped forward, his jaw set. "You picked the wrong colony, whatever you are." Vex-Thor decided to end this with a traditional display. He expanded his body to full size, spread all 4 arms wide, opened his mouth to show his fangs, and released a subsonic roar that had made entire armies retreat in fear. The humans flinched. Some of them stepped back. Then Ji-won stepped forward and screamed back at him, a mother's fury-given voice. The other humans joined her, all of them shouting and roaring, making themselves loud and large and aggressive. Vex-Thor actually took a step backward. This was wrong. This was all wrong. Prey did not act like this. Hyunwoo saw the creature's hesitation and made a quick decision. "Now!" The humans attacked as one. The fight was not elegant. It was not coordinated. It was 9 humans with improvised weapons attacking something that could kill any one of them with a single strike. But they attacked together. Won-shik and Kyung-ho split off to opposite sides, trying to flank the creature. Hyunwoo went straight forward, plasma cutter blazing. Tae-yang stayed close to his father, wrench ready. Ji-won kept her rifle aimed at the monster's eyes, firing dart after dart to keep it distracted. Bo-ra moved in with her stun baton. Jae-hee held a long metal pipe. Nari stayed with Dae-sung, pulling him back while keeping a heavy flashlight raised like a weapon. Vex-Thor had fought many creatures. He had trained for combat against multiple opponents, but he had never faced anything like this. When he struck at Hyunwoo, Ji-won fired at his face. When he turned to deal with her, Won-shik swung a heavy hammer at his leg. When he spun to face Won-shik, Tae-yang came in from the blind side. They were not trying to kill him. They could not. Their weapons were not strong enough. but they were not giving him a clean shot at any of them either. Vex Thor's claws lashed out at Hyun-woo. The man rolled under the strike, and the plasma cutter scored a line across the hunter's side. It did not cut deep, but it burned. It hurt. The hunter roared in pain and anger. Bora took that moment to thrust her stun baton into the joint of his lower left arm. The electrical shock was meant for unruly human colonists, not armored aliens. It should have done nothing. But electricity is electricity. Vex Thor's arm spasmed. His muscles locked for a second. Kyung-ho swung a length of pipe at the back of the hunter's knee. The impact made Vex Thor stumble. He was not losing. He was still stronger, faster, better armed, but he was not winning either. And that was unacceptable. Vex Thor focused on the weakest link, the construction worker who had already taken a flanking position. Wan-shik was older than the others, slower, less agile. The hunter feinted toward Hyun-woo, then spun with terrifying speed and brought his claws down on Wan-shik's shoulder. The claws tore through cloth and skin and muscle. Wan-shik screamed and went down, blood pouring from the wound. Vex Thor expected this to break the human's spirit, show them the cost of resistance, make them flee. Instead, they became more dangerous. Jae-hee screamed in fury and swung her metal pipe at the hunter's head with all her strength. The impact rang like a bell. Vex Thor's head snapped to the side. Hyun-woo came in low, slashing at the hunter's legs with the plasma cutter. "You dare! You dare attack my people!" Ji-won ran to Wan-shik and started dragging him back, her rifle discarded. But she was not running away. She pulled him just far enough to be safe, then immediately began treating his wound with supplies from her medical bag. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency even as tears ran down her face. Tae-yang looked at Wan-shik, a man who had taught him how to fix motors, who had given him advice about girls, who had been at every birthday party Tae-yang could remember. He looked at the blood. He looked at the monster. Something cold and hard settled in Tae-yang's chest. He stepped forward, putting himself in front of his injured neighbor. "My turn." Vex Thor saw the young male approach. This one was barely more than a child himself, not a threat. The hunter raised his claw to sweep the boy aside. Tae-yang did not try to dodge. He stepped into the strike, inside the hunter's reach, and slammed the heavy wrench into Vex Thor's elbow joint. The joint was armored, but it still had to bend. The impact hit at the perfect angle. Vex Thor's arm went numb for a moment. Kyung-ho came in from the other side and struck the same joint, then Jae-hee, then Bora with her stun baton. They were learning, adapting, coordinating. Vex Thor realized with growing alarm that these humans were getting better at fighting him with every passing second. They were watching where his armor was weak, learning his attack patterns, communicating with short shouts. "Left side! Low strike! Eyes! Go for the eyes!" This was supposed to be a hunt. Quick, clean, honorable. Instead, it was becoming a battle, and Vex Thor was not prepared for a battle. He had not brought his combat armor, had not activated his ship's weapon systems. He had come for a hunt, not a war. Another strike hit his leg. The plasma cutter burned across his back. The stun baton hit his neck joint. Small damages, nothing serious, but they were adding up. And the humans were not getting tired. If anything, they were getting angrier. Hyun-woo's voice cut through the chaos. "Protect each other. Watch your flanks. He is strong, but we are many." They moved like they had trained together for years, but Vex Thor's analysis showed these were just colonists, regular people. No military formation, no practiced maneuvers. They were just protecting each other through pure instinct. When Jae-hee overextended her strike, Bora stepped in to cover her. When Kyung-ho stumbled, Tae-yang moved to guard him. When Hyun-woo's plasma cutter started overheating, he fell back and 3 others moved forward to fill the gap. Vex Thor tried to target the female treating the wounded. Remove the medic and the others would fear their injuries more. Hyun-woo saw the hunter's eyes shift toward Ji-won. He moved faster than he had ever moved in his life, putting himself directly in the attack path. The claws came down. Hyun-woo blocked with the plasma cutter's metal housing. The claws cut through the tool and into Hyun-woo's arm. Not deep, but enough. He grunted in pain but did not move, did not fall back. "You want her?" Hyun-woo said through gritted teeth. "You go through me first." Ji-won looked up from treating Won-shik. She saw her husband bleeding. She saw the determination in his eyes. She had married this man 20 years ago, and in that moment, she fell in love with him all over again. "Get away from my husband!" She grabbed her rifle and fired every remaining dart directly at Vex-Thor's face. The darts bounced off harmlessly, but the hunter had to close his eyes for a moment. Tae-yang used that moment to strike at the hunter's leg joint again. This time, something cracked. Not broken, but damaged. Vex-Thor stumbled. His leg was not responding correctly. The humans pressed their advantage. They came from all sides, striking in sequence, not giving him a moment to recover. Vex-Thor realized he had made a terrible error. He had underestimated these soft bloods, had dismissed them as weak because they had no natural weapons. But they had something more dangerous than claws or fangs. They had each other, and they would die for each other. The hunter made a decision that would have shamed him in front of his clan. He activated his cloaking device and ran, not a tactical retreat, not a strategic withdrawal. He ran. The humans did not chase. They formed a tight circle around their wounded and their children, weapons raised, ready for another attack. But the attack did not come. Hyun-woo kept his eyes on the forest. His damaged plasma cutter still held ready. "Is everyone alive?" "Won-shik is stable," Ji-won called out. "He needs surgery, but he will survive." "Dae-sung?" Hyun-woo asked. "I am okay, Dad." The boy's voice was small but steady. Tae-yang laughed, a shaky sound full of adrenaline and relief. "We made it run away. We actually made it run away." Nari hugged her little brother tightly. "If you ever do that again, I will lock you in your room forever." Dae-sung hugged her back. "Sorry." More colonists arrived, drawn by the emergency signal. They found the group standing together, wounded but alive, weapons still raised. Nobody suggested going home yet. They maintained their protective circle until transport vehicles arrived, until Won-shik was loaded into the medical transport, until every single person was accounted for. Only then did they return to the colony, walking together, watching the darkness. Hyun-woo carried Dae-sung on his shoulders. Ji-won walked beside them, one hand on her husband's arm, making sure he did not collapse from blood loss. As they walked, Kyung-ho said quietly, "That thing was built to hunt, to kill, and it ran from us." Won-shik, lying in the transport with bandages covering his shoulder, managed a weak smile. "Because we are scarier than we look." And in the darkness of the forest, hidden behind his cloaking field, Vex-Thor watched them go. He had faced warriors. He had faced predators. But he had never faced anything like this. A family that fought like an army. Vex-Thor returned to his ship in the darkness, his wounds burning. They were not serious injuries. A Kralith hunter could endure much worse. But they were wounds given by prey. That was unthinkable. That was shameful. He entered his ship and sealed the door behind him. His hands were shaking. A Kralith's hands should never shake. The ship's computer activated at his approach. "Status report?" it asked in his native language. "Run a full analysis on species. Human," Vex-Thor ordered. "Priority search, combat behavior, social structure, threat assessment." The computer hummed as it accessed the vast Kralith hunting archives, databases built over thousands of years of hunting on hundreds of worlds. Vex-Thor treated his wounds while he waited. The burns from the plasma cutter. The bruises from their improvised weapons, small hurts, insignificant hurts, but hurts given by creatures that should have run. Analysis complete, the computer announced. Species, human. Classification, paradox species. Warning level, maximum. Vex Thor's hands stopped moving. Maximum warning? For soft bloods with no natural weapons? Explain, he commanded. The computer displayed information on the main screen. Vex Thor read, and with each line his confusion grew. Humans were pursuit predators. They did not have the speed to catch prey in a quick sprint, so they chased it for hours, days even, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. They never gave up, never stopped coming. Humans bonded across genetic lines. Family was not just blood relatives. It was anyone they chose to include. An attack on one was treated as an attack on all. Humans had something called spite. If threatened with overwhelming force, they would often choose mutual destruction rather than surrender. "If I am going down, I am taking you with me," was a common human philosophy. The computer showed recordings from other Kralith hunters who had encountered humans. Vex Thor watched in growing horror. One hunter had attacked a human research station, thinking it would be easy prey. The researchers had used their own equipment to fight back. One scientist had depressurized an entire section of the station, killing himself and 3 hunters in the explosive decompression. Another hunter had cornered a human soldier. The soldier had been injured, weaponless. The hunter had expected surrender. Instead, the human had tackled him and activated a grenade, killing them both. Case after case of humans choosing death over surrender, choosing sacrifice over survival, fighting when they should run, attacking when they should hide. "Why is this not common knowledge?" Vex Thor demanded. "Why are humans not marked as forbidden prey?" "They are marked as paradox species," the computer replied. "Most encounters result in human death, so they appear to be vulnerable. But collective human response to attacks is disproportionate and often results in hunter casualties. Recommendation: avoid unless absolutely necessary." Vex Thor sat in his command chair, processing this information. He had attacked a child, a single, small child, and 9 adults had responded with immediate violence, willing to die to protect that one child. That was not normal. That was not how prey species worked. Prey species protected the strong to preserve the species. The weak were sacrificed. That was nature. That was logic. But humans did not follow logic. They followed emotion, loyalty, love, concepts that made them weak individually, but terrifyingly strong collectively. Vex Thor accessed the final section of the database. Known human responses to attacks on young. The file was marked red, extreme danger. He read the summary and felt something like fear settle in his chest. When a human child is harmed, adult humans do not calculate odds. They do not consider their own safety. They enter a state of protective rage that overrides all survival instincts. They will use any weapon, any method, any sacrifice to destroy the threat. And they will not stop, ever. There were records of human parents who had tracked hunters across multiple planets, who had spent years learning to fight, who had killed creatures 10 times their size through pure determination and refusal to quit. One case detailed a human mother whose child had been taken by a Kralith hunter. She had spent 3 years tracking that hunter. She had learned Kralith language, customs, and fighting techniques. She had infiltrated a Kralith hunting lodge during a ceremony and killed 5 hunters, including the one who had taken her child, before security brought her down. She had failed in her mission, but she had tried. For 3 years, she had tried. One human female against an entire species of apex predators, and she had gotten close to succeeding. Vex Thor closed the file. He understood now. He had not attacked a child. He had marked himself for death, because those humans would not forget, would not forgive, would hunt him until one side was dead. He checked his ship's sensors. The colony was active, very active. Thermal signatures showed large groups moving in organized patterns. Energy readings indicated they were modifying their equipment. They were preparing for war. Vexthor accessed the visual feed and watched the colony. Hyunwoo was in the workshop, surrounded by other colonists. They were taking apart mining equipment and rebuilding it. The plasma cutters were being modified with longer power cells and better range. Mining charges were being rewired with remote triggers. Construction equipment was being turned into weapons. These were not soldiers. They were engineers and builders, but they were learning to be warriors. Jiwon was in the medical center treating Won-shik, but she was also training others in combat medicine, teaching them how to treat plasma burns, claw wounds, shock trauma, preparing for more injuries. Bora had organized patrol teams. They moved through the colony perimeter with discipline and coordination. They were not trained guards, but they were learning fast. Jae-hee was using her knowledge of local ecology to set up warning systems, cameras, motion sensors, anything that would detect a cloaked intruder. Kyung-ho was prepping shuttles for evacuation if needed, but also arming them with mining lasers and reinforced hulls. And there were more, so many more. The entire colony was mobilizing. Nearly 3,000 humans, all working together, all preparing to defend against him. Vexthor had hunted many creatures. But he had always been the hunter, the one who chose when to attack, the one who controlled the hunt. Now, watching the screens, he realized something that chilled his blood. He was no longer the hunter. He was being hunted. They were looking for him. Search parties moving in grid patterns through the forest, drones scanning from above. They were using every tool, every sensor, every technique they had, and they would find him eventually. Vexthor could leave, could flee to his ship and escape into space, but that would mean admitting defeat. Admitting that prey had beaten him. His clan would strip him of his rank. He would be shamed forever. But if he stayed, if he continued the hunt, he might die. Or worse, he might be captured. The Kralith database had records of what humans did to creatures that harmed their children. It was not pleasant. Vexthor watched Dae-sung through the cameras. The child was inside the protected central building with other children. He was not crying, not traumatized. He was playing with his sister, laughing at something she said. The child had thrown a rock at him, had kicked him, had run while screaming to alert others. The child had fought back, and when rescue came, the child did not ask if his rescuers were safe. He did not worry about himself. He hugged his family and apologized for worrying them. Vexthor saw Hyunwoo walk over and ruffle the boy's hair, saw Jiwon kiss his forehead, saw Tai Yang and Nari sitting close to him, protective even in safety. The hunter understood something then, something that his species had never understood. These humans were not fighting to show strength. They were not fighting for territory or resources or honor. They were fighting because they loved each other. Love. Such a simple concept. Such a foolish emotion by Kralith standards. But it made them unkillable. Because you could wound a human. You could scare a human. You could even kill a human. But you could never make them stop protecting their family. Vexthor sat in his ship and considered his options. He could run. He could fight. He could die. He could kill. Or he could do something no Kralith hunter had ever done. He could stop hunting. The computer beeped. Incoming transmission. Multiple sources. Audio message repeating on all frequencies. Play it, Vexthor ordered. Hyunwoo's voice filled the ship. It was calm, steady, but underneath the calm was steel. To the creature that attacked my son. You have one chance. Come to the colony. Face us openly. Leave peacefully, and we will let you go. Or stay hidden, and we will find you. And when we do, you will not like what happens next. You have until sunrise. The message repeated. Over and over. a ultimatum from prey to predator. Vexthor looked at his claws, his weapons, his armor, all the tools that made him a perfect hunter. Then he looked at the screens showing humans working together, laughing together, protecting each other. And he made a decision. Dawn broke over New Pyongtaek. The colony was awake, armed, and waiting. Every able adult stood at the perimeter, weapons ready. The children were in the central shelter, guarded by those too old or too young to fight. Hyunwoo stood at the front with Jiwon beside him. Dae-sung was safe inside with his siblings, but Hyunwoo wished he could see his son. Hold him. Make sure he was really okay. "Do you think it will come?" Jiwon asked quietly. "I do not know," Hyunwoo admitted. "But if it does not, we will find it." Wonshik stood with them, his shoulder heavily bandaged. He should have been resting, but he refused to stay behind. "That thing gave me this scar. I want to see its face when it realizes it picked the wrong people to hunt." Tae-yang gripped his wrench. Nari stood with the other teenagers, all of them armed with tools and determination. The whole colony was ready. The sun climbed higher. Minutes passed, then an hour. "Maybe it ran," Bora suggested. "Maybe it left the planet." Hyunwoo shook his head. "No, that thing has pride. I saw it in its eyes. It will come." And then they saw it. A shimmer in the air at the edge of the forest. The cloaking field deactivated, and Vexthor stood revealed. He was not in an attack posture. All four arms were at his sides. His weapons were holstered. But the humans did not lower their weapons. Vexthor walked forward slowly. Every step was visible, every movement deliberate. He stopped 20 paces from the colonists and spoke through his translation device. "I am Vexthor of Clan Craven, third circle hunter of the Kralith Empire." His voice was deep, harsh, but clear. "I came to your world to hunt. I chose your child as prey. I was wrong." Silence. The humans waited. "In my culture," Vexthor continued, "to retreat from prey is the ultimate dishonor. To admit defeat to softbloods would end my career. My clan would disown me. But I have learned something. You are not prey." Hyunwoo stepped forward. "What are we then?" Vexthor looked at him, at all of them. "You are something my people have no word for. You are protectors. You fight not for yourself, but for others. You risk everything for your young, for your old, for your neighbors. This is not prey behavior. This is not even predator behavior. This is something else. It is called family," Jiwon said, "and you tried to hurt our family." "Yes." Vexthor lowered his head in what might have been shame. "I studied your species before coming here. My data said you were weak, fragile, easy prey. The data was wrong. You are the most dangerous species I have encountered, and I have hunted on 73 worlds." Kyung-ho laughed, a bitter sound. "We are dangerous? You are 3 times our size with armor and claws and technology beyond ours. And yet I ran from you," Vexthor said simply, "because you would have died to protect that child. All of you. Not because you had to, but because you chose to. I have killed creatures that could not be killed, but I have never faced creatures that would not stop coming. That is what makes you dangerous." Wonshik touched his bandaged shoulder. "You hurt me. You hurt our family. Why should we let you leave?" "You should not," Vexthor agreed. "By any logic, you should kill me now while you have numbers. I would do the same in your place. But you are asking me for reasons. You are giving me a chance to speak. Prey does not do this. Predators do not do this. Only beings with honor do this. So I ask for honor. Let me leave. And I will tell my people to never hunt humans again." Hyunwoo studied the alien carefully. He saw the wounds they had given it, the slight limp from damaged leg joint, the careful way it held one arm. They had hurt it. They could probably kill it if they all attacked together. but more would die. Maybe many more. "Why did you come here?" Hyun-woo asked. "Why hunt a child?" Vexthor was quiet for a moment. Then he answered honestly, "Because I am young for my species. I have not proven myself. To advance in my clan, I needed to hunt a soft blood. Your colony seemed weak. Your child seemed easy. I thought it would be simple. I was a fool." "You were," Ji-won agreed coldly. "You were a fool who almost killed our son." "Yes." Vexthor looked toward the central building where the children were sheltered. "May I see him?" "The child?" Every weapon snapped up. Hyun-woo's voice was deadly quiet. "You want to see my son?" "Not to harm, never again to harm. I want to apologize. In my culture, we do not apologize to prey. But he is not prey. He is something I must understand." Hyun-woo and Ji-won looked at each other. A whole conversation passed between them in that look. Finally, Ji-won nodded. "Tae-yang, bring Dae-sung here, but stay close to him." Minutes later, Tae-yang emerged with Dae-sung. The boy held his brother's hand tightly, but he was not crying. He looked at the massive alien with wide eyes but no tears. Vexthor knelt down, making himself smaller. Even kneeling, he was taller than the child. "Small human, Dae-sung, I hunted you. I tried to kill you. I was wrong to do this. Your people showed me that you are not prey. You are family. I do not ask for forgiveness. I only ask that you know I will never hunt again." Dae-sung looked up at his parents. Hyun-woo nodded. The boy stepped forward, and every human tensed, ready to throw themselves between child and monster. But Dae-sung just looked at Vexthor seriously. "You scared me. You hurt Won-shik. That was bad." "Yes, it was bad." "But you came back. You could have run away. Why?" Vexthor considered the question. "Because running would be cowardly, and your father gave me a choice. Face you with honor or be hunted without mercy. I chose honor." Dae-sung nodded slowly. Then he said something that made every human smile and every alien heart skip a beat. "Okay, I forgive you, but do not hunt kids anymore. It is mean." Vexthor stared at the child. This small being who should fear him, who should hate him, instead offering forgiveness. "I will never hunt your kind again," Vexthor promised. "I will tell my clan. I will tell the Kralith Empire. Humans are not prey. They are protectors. And to harm them is to face endless vengeance from beings who love each other more than they love their own lives." Hyun-woo stepped forward. "You can go. But know this. If any of your people come back here, if any of you touch any human child anywhere in this galaxy, we will find you, all of us. We will hunt you across every star, and we will not stop until every last one of you understands what it means to threaten a human family." Vexthor stood slowly. "I believe you. I have seen what you will do for one child. I do not want to see what humanity will do if you unite against a common enemy." He turned to leave, then stopped. "Your species confuses me. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no great strength, but you have something that makes you more dangerous than any predator I have known. You have each other. Guard that well. It is your greatest strength." And with that, Vexthor activated his cloaking field and vanished. The colonists stood watching long after he disappeared. Finally, Bora lowered her weapon. "Did that really just happen?" "An alien hunter attacked Dae-sung, we beat it up, and it apologized," Nari summarized. "Yes, that happened." Won-shik laughed despite the pain in his shoulder. "Wait until we tell this story. No one will believe us." But Hyun-woo was not laughing. He picked up Dae-sung and held him close. "We won today, but we were lucky. We need better defenses, better weapons, better training." Ji-won nodded. "We will call Earth, request support. We are not helpless colonists anymore. We are defenders now." The colonists began to disperse, returning to their homes. But they walked differently now, stood differently. They had faced a monster and won. They had protected their family. 3 months later, a massive ship entered orbit around New Pyeongtaek. The colonists went on alert immediately. But this ship was not hostile. It was a Kralith diplomatic vessel. The message came through on all frequencies. We are representatives of the Kralith Empire. We seek peaceful contact with humanity. Vexathor of Clan Craven has reported his encounter with your colony. We wish to establish formal relations and discuss mutual understanding. Hyunwoo stood in the colony's communication center, staring at the message. Ji-won stood beside him. They are scared of us, she said quietly. Good, Hyunwoo replied. Let them be scared. Let every species in the galaxy know. You can raid human colonies, you can attack human ships, but you touch a human child, and you face all of humanity. That is the lesson. The diplomatic meetings took weeks. The Kralith sent scholars and ambassadors. They studied human culture with fascination and fear. They could not understand why humans bonded so strongly with non-relatives, why humans would die for strangers, why family meant more than blood. Dae-sung became something of a celebrity, the boy who fought back, the child whose family changed galactic history. But to his family, he was just Dae-sung, their son, their brother, their family. One evening, as the family sat down for dinner together, Dae-sung asked a question. Dad, why did everyone come to save me? I am just one kid. Hyunwoo put down his fork and looked at his son. Around the table, Ji-won, Tai-yang, and Nari all stopped eating to listen. Because you are family, Hyunwoo said simply. And family means we protect each other, no matter what, no matter the cost. One of us is hurt, all of us respond. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us strong. But what if the monster had been bigger? What if more of you got hurt? Ji-won reached over and took her son's hand. Then more of us would have come. The whole colony, the whole planet, all of humanity if needed, because that is what family does. Tai-yang ruffled his little brother's hair. You are stuck with us, kid. Forever, Nari smiled. You saved yourself first by fighting and running and being smart. We just finished the job. Dae-sung thought about this. Then he smiled. I like our family. So do we, Hyunwoo said. Now eat your dinner before it gets cold. And in orbit above them, Kralith diplomats watched the human colony and tried to understand, tried to learn, tried to explain to their empire why these soft bloods without natural weapons were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Because humans had discovered something that no predator could defeat. They had discovered that love was stronger than fear, that family was stronger than instinct, that together even the weakest could stand against the strong. The monster had tried to hunt a child, but found a family instead, and learned that some things should never be hunted.